Om Shanti. Today's Murli sends out a lot of messages, and sometimes, it is very difficult to really wrap your head around what Baba is trying to say. And after reading today's Murli, there was this one sister, and she asked, is Baba saying that you should continue to be beaten up? So if somebody is beating you up, then should you continue to get beaten up? Because I felt like that is what the Murli is saying. So I said, the thing is, if you are being beaten up, did you seek permission from Baba for being beaten up? No. So you are being beaten up, right? And you are accepting that. Now, Baba is not asking you to continue. You have chosen to continue. That's why you are in that situation. And Baba is giving a solution of how to come out of that situation. But that solution doesn't come by resisting. So, whatever you resist will persist. So, if you just resist something, it's not going to go away. If you just deny it, you denounce it, you resist it, is it going to go away because of that? No. So one thing we have to understand, there is a reason why everything is happening. And if you want to change what is happening, then the reason that because of which it is happening has to change. And what is the reason? If you look at what is the spiritual reason behind whatever is happening around me is happening. So if there is a physical situation, a financial situation in the family, what is the reason why all of that is happening? The reason is your consciousness. So it is our consciousness which is responsible for, for maintaining or the continuity of whatever is happening, so that it continues the way it is happening. And most people in the world, when we are not in Gyan, we don't know that it is a question or a subject of consciousness. Now, what is consciousness? It is your state of being, not your state of mind or your state of, the present moment. It's your state of being. So every soul, we have a certain consciousness. I have a certain state of being which depends on my state of knowledge, purity, peace, love, happiness, bliss and power. And that state of being is what dictates my doing, my having, my receiving, everything. So until and unless we understand the reason, we cannot, and we work on the reason and we change the state of consciousness, then the reality is not going to change. And I have understood from very practical experience that respect cannot be demanded, it can only be commanded. You cannot force anybody to respect you. You simply cannot force anybody to respect you. Whether you are I have seen people in big positions, they are in leadership roles, people who are paying other people for services. So I have seen parents who have given birth to children, but you try to demand respect, you don't get it. There is no way you can force somebody into respecting you, or for that matter, treating you well. Even if somebody is not treating you well, you cannot force that person or demand. You may, you can quote, this is the law, or this is that, or this is this, but still you cannot force that person to treat you well. But you can command it. And I have seen people who, there was this one brother, he never treated anybody well, but he treated sisters very well, the BK family very well. And that's not because of him, it's because of who you are. So you can command good treatment, you can command good, you can command respect from the most unassuming, even if you think that this person is the last person to respect anybody, still they respect somebody because that person has commanded it. And how do you command respect? Again, that same thing, your state of being, your state of consciousness, that is what makes you command respect, makes you command good treatment. And there is a simple question on which I want you to think. And the question is, what if somebody walked up to you and told that I am being mistreated? What do you tell them? If somebody comes and tells you that I am being mistreated, and they ask you whether it is fair, or whether it is right, or whether it is legal, and whether this is what should happen to them, what do you tell them? Just think about this. So you just tell them to remember Baba. You just tell them to remember Baba. I have seen, because it's been many years we've been in Seva, so there have been these situations when people have come up with a lot of, pain, and they come and tell you stories of how their leg was broken and that person was beaten up or they were mistreated. And then, in the beginning, I used to get very body conscious. I used to get very emotional and sentimental, and then I would give them a motivational speech about how they should leave that person, or they should go and report that misdoing, and so, but what I observed is that motivational speech didn't work. And in cases where it worked and they, under that influence, they did something, later they blamed me for it. So there was this one sister, and she went and reported it to the police, and then she said, you are the one who asked me to report it to the police, and now I'm in trouble. I don't have a husband, and then nobody is taking care of me. I cannot take care of myself. So you cannot, if you just force somebody, or if you just suggest somebody to do something which is not in synchronicity with their state of being, then they cannot do it sustainedly. Even if under your influence they behave like you, still they are they and you are you. And what you would do in that situation is not the only right thing to do in that situation. And then if you influence them to do that also, maybe temporarily it will work, but then in the long term they have to sustain their decision. They have to carry on with the steps they took. And if they don't have the courage or the understanding or the conviction in that method, then that will not work. So, and what you have to understand is our external reality is a projection of our state of being. And if my state of being is not shifting, my consciousness is not shifting, then maybe the form of the current reality will change. It will shift its form, but then not the essence. So, if somebody is being mistreated by the spouse, then they leave the spouse because somebody motivated them, and then they get mistreated by the person who motivated them to leave the spouse. I have seen this happen. So there was this Mamaji in the family, and he suggested that nobody can beat you up, and I will take care of you, and I will protect you, and you leave the husband, and I am the person who will fight for you. And then he created a big scene, he took that woman away, and now that Mamaji is mistreating that woman. So it's the same condition, only the form changes. That is why Baba today tells us that you must understand that there is something called consciousness or your state of being. And that state of being is a product of karma. And karma is a very, is a true word. It's not, we should not attach judgment to karma, because karma is a factor of time. You cannot help vikarma. So, 63 births of Vikram we have all had. So there is nothing to be, it's karma is not a judgmental word. It's not like if we say it was bad karma, then it's not like I am responsible for bad karma. No, because karma is a factor of time. Do you understand that Baba has never told us to be ashamed of karma until we meet Baba, because we don't have any understanding of karma. And if you look at the theory of karma, then Baba has explained very well that karma is a factor of time. In Satyug and Treta Yuga, for 2500 years you have akarma, and half the cycle there is akarma, neutral karma, and that is a factor of time. And then from the copper age to the iron age you have vikarma. You can't help it. You don't do vikarma because you are bad. You do vikarma because you are not knowledgeful. And that state of not being knowledgeful is not something you choose or you can help. It's a factor of time. And we understand that our low consciousness today is because of that journey. And because of that low consciousness, which means lack of knowledge, purity, love, peace, happiness, bliss and power, which we lost because it is a factor of time. And now, until and unless we elevate our own selves by filling these 7 qualities through Baba's remembrance and through Baba's Srimad, We cannot change our reality, because until the consciousness changes, the reality cannot change. And we have all been on different journeys, so our state of being is different. But everybody has some vulnerabilities, some susceptibilities. Sometimes the relationship is not treating you well, sometimes money is not treating you well, sometimes the body is not treating you well, sometimes time is not treating you well. So we have all our lack of mistreatments, or all our forms of mistreatments. And then what can you do? You can only understand why this is happening, and then in Baba's remembrance, fill yourself with that which changes your consciousness. So Baba's remembrance means remembering the ocean of truth, ocean of purity, ocean of love, ocean of power, and following Shrimat. And then what happens is, slowly, gradually, your consciousness shifts. And then those same people who mistreated you start treating you better. So Baba says that this is the only method, there is no other method. And today Baba says that you are in jail. When you commit a sin, so when you commit a crime, you are in the jail of the government. When you commit a sin, you are in Ravan's jail. And then you are jailed, you are in that situation until your term of paap is over. So you have to serve your sentence. But have you seen that in physical jails also, if you have very good behavior during that term, they sometimes reduce the sentence. So Baba says, be well behaved and remember me, and then your term, your sentence will get reduced. But then this is how it is. We are in the jail of bhakti, we are in the jail of gurus, we are in the jail of relationships. And even though some onlooker might feel that it is very bizarre, very wrong, very unjust, very inappropriate for you to be in that jail, but there is a reason hidden in your consciousness which allows you to be in that jail. And then you can't, there is this one, and I will also tell you about one brother. It is very interesting. And his wife and his sanskars are very different. So this brother is a very quiet person and his wife is very loud. And then, this brother, he says that my wife, she creates a very stormy environment in the house, and then my mother gets scared and I get scared and we don't know how to deal with this. And then I told him, you just have to say you stop. Why can't you say that much? And it's been 3 years, he has not said you stop. And then sometimes, you feel how difficult is it to just, put your foot down. But then some people can't do it. And that's the personality. Then how do you explain this? That is why we call this is karma related, this is consciousness related. And then I asked him to, when I understood that you cannot actually make somebody do something which is not in sync with their consciousness. So the first thing you do is give them Baba's teaching which elevates their consciousness. The methods that elevate your consciousness is remembrance of Baba, practice of purity, seva that you do. That's what enhances, elevates your consciousness. And then I stopped, pestering him to to answer back, or asking him to, or repeatedly asking him, why can't you do this? How difficult is that? I used to ask him this question a lot. And then I figured out, no, it doesn't work like that. And then I started telling him, you just come to class, you meditate, you wake up at Amrit Vela, you observe purity of food, purity of body, purity of mind. You do some seva, bhai. I started telling him. And then the situation started shifting a little. So Baba says that this is karma related, and karma is not, so first thing, don't take karma in a judgmental manner. Understand that karma is a factor of time, and yes, there is karma. And then what karma does is, one thing is, it creates a sanskar. So if I don't have the sanskar to be assertive, if I cannot talk assertively, if I cannot signal a no, that's a sanskar. Yes, and then karma also builds or depletes our self-esteem. So, we all have a certain self-esteem, and your self-esteem is that inner voice which tells you what you deserve. That is very silent. So what you deserve is a very inner voice, and there is a certain voice that we have which tells me, I deserve this in a relationship, I deserve this financially, I deserve this much of health. And do you understand that our idea of what I deserve is not very noble? There is a certain voice within us which is not very loud. You can't hear it loud, but if you sit and listen to yourself, there is a certain thing inside you that tells you that you deserve this, you deserve poverty, you deserve ill health, you deserve the way you are being treated. And that is the non-verbal communication you make to the other. It is very subtle. What I am telling you today is very, very subtle. If you don't sit and think about it, probably you won't get it. So there is a certain self-esteem within us which tells me I deserve this, and that voice gets communicated to the other. It gets communicated to the 5 elements of nature. And that is what commands that treatment. And until you shift your karma, you don't feel you deserve better. That inner voice doesn't change. Your self-esteem doesn't go up. So, and when that self-esteem is low, then the 5 elements of nature and all the souls around you are getting that message that you can be treated like this, and that is why they treat you like that. It's a very, very subtle messaging that you send. Yes, and I will give you one example. There was this girl in office, and she had been hired for a contractual position. And contractual means it is impermanent. So, and it is also vulnerable to your relationship with your officer in charge. Yes, so that person, and they assess your performance and they give an opinion about whether you should be retained or not. And then she started getting mistreated by her officer, and she thought that so she had been struggling to find this job for 6 months before she found this job. And then when this started happening, she only felt that I need this job badly and I cannot leave this job at any cost. And then so one day she was sitting and she was very quiet, and I was having my lunch, and then I saw her that she's very quiet and she's thinking something inside. And then I called her and I asked her, is there something troubling you? And then she cried and she told me that my officer is pestering me. And then I asked her, so why don't you raise your voice? Why don't you just, when he's saying something inappropriate or doing something, why don't you raise your voice there? Then she said, I cannot, because if I do that, I might lose my job, and then that will be a very big problem. So I said, so that means you choose this over losing the job. So she said, I don't know, Didi, but I cannot lose my job. So then I said, this will not stop until in your internal being you are clear that I will not, I will not, tolerate this, come what may. So even if I lose the job, I'm not going to tolerate this. If you're not very categorical about it inside, then this situation cannot change. So you work within yourself. And even if I go and talk to the officer, that officer knows that if he pesters you enough, you will stop coming and telling me. Because he knows your desperation for the job, and that is the message he is getting from the vibration. So until and unless there is clarity inside of you that even if I lose my job, I am not going to allow this happen to me. And that internal clarity when you have, you will not even maybe have to speak. That internal clarity will get communicated, because that same person is not misbehaving with 5 other women. He is only misbehaving with you. Why? Because he is getting that vibration, and that cannot change until your internal clarity shifts. And then I started, giving her the course and everything. And then one day when she was clear enough that she doesn't care about the job, inside there was this clarity, then she just looked at the person, and the person knew that he has to back off. She just had to look at that person, and that person knew that I have to back off, otherwise this is going to backfire. So this is how strong our consciousness or our state of being is. And it sends out a message very loud and clear to the other person. It is your drishti, it is your vibration, it is your whole being, it is your personality which communicates how you deserve to be treated. And have you seen that Janki Dadi ji was very petite? Yes, very small, very frail. But then when you went to Dadi, you could see she is Shiv Shakti. So it's not your body, it's your body language. And your body conveying something is a physical aspect, but your body language is a very spiritual subject. It is not physical, it is very, very spiritual. And when we say spiritual, be very clear: knowledge, purity, peace, love, happiness, bliss, and power. That is spiritual. And when I connect myself in yoga with Baba, I remember Baba, I listen to Murli, I allow my mind and my buddhi to receive what Baba is giving, and in silence I fill myself with spiritual powers and qualities, then the reality around me starts to shift automatically. So when Baba today says that you are suffering because of your karmic account, you must understand that a karmic account is not with another person. A karmic account builds your self-esteem, it builds your sanskar. And when your self-esteem shifts, your sanskar shifts, when your swaman is built, then that karmic account gets settled. It's not like it's a karmic account with some person, because if it was like that, then when that person is settling the karmic account, they won't incur a debit. Yes, if I have taken a loan and that person is taking away that which he has given, then why should he create a karmic account in the process? Because I have done that to him, so he is doing that to me. So then it is settlement, then it should be one party settlement. Then that person should not have any karmic account incurring because of his karma. But if somebody is beating up, he is also creating that karmic account. Of course he is, or she is. Then how do we, so it is not with one person. It's not like you have a karmic account with that soul. Because if it had been like that, then it would get very complicated. Because only when you are doing something in, for the first time, then you will have a karmic debit. But when you are returning it because somebody did it to you, so then you will not have a karmic debit. Right? But it's not that complicated. Every time you create a karma, you are creating a karmic debit if that karma is vikarma. So that explains that a karmic account is your own state of consciousness. So when I have created some karma, it reflects in my state of consciousness, and because of that I attract a person, I attract a situation which has that same karmic journey, through which they will also behave in a manner that my karmic account gets triggered. And then whether I settle it or I enhance it is a choice, because if I behave knowledgefully, if I respond in Baba's remembrance, then I will be settling it. And if I just react, then I will be increasing the karmic account. Got it? So this is something that Baba tells us. And then I liked something else also very much in the Murli today. Baba says, when you praise Shiv Baba, you are not defaming anyone. Yes? And this is a very interesting thing, because when we have this sanskar that, let's say somebody is sitting before you and they are praising somebody else, then what happens is automatically there is a commentary inside you. Oh, they are very good, that means I am bad. 5 times they have told they are very good, they are very nice, they are very punctual. I also come on time. What is the problem with me? So, there is this sanskar that whenever you say this is true or this person is good, then it automatically kind of makes the other one think that you are bad, or you are wrong, or there is some problem with you. And that is because the person who is speaking also has the same sanskar. So when I am talking to you and I have this sanskar that when something is good, then the other thing is bad, and I have not internalized that everything in the drama is just what it is. It is neither good nor bad, it just is what it is. And if I don't have that sanskar of acceptance of the whole drama, and then I'm speaking from the point of my Sangam Yugi effort, or my Sangam Yugi responsibility of sharing what I know today. So earlier I didn't know that this is Baba, or this is good karma, or this is what we need to do, but now I know. So sharing what you know today is my responsibility. But then that doesn't mean that whatever the other person is doing up till now is wrong, because I was also doing the same thing. But today I know better, so I'm sharing it. Now, when you don't have this much clarity, then when you talk to the other person and you have that sanskar that this world is wrong and right and it's not a factor of time, you are judgmental about it, then it gets communicated to the other person. Yes, so I remember there was this one sister, and she told me, whenever I correct my child, he gets offended. She says he digs his nose in public, and when I just, sometimes I don't even tell him anything, I just take his hand and I remove it. And he gets very offended and he sulks, and then he doesn't talk to me for hours after that. So what is wrong in that? So I asked her, do you feel embarrassed when he does that? So she said yes. So I said, that is what is getting communicated. He is offended because you are embarrassed. If you just understood that he is doing it out of ignorance, and you had that love and respect for the child, and you were, that vibration got communicated, then he wouldn't take offense at it. Baba tells us so many things. Do we take offense? No. Why? Because Baba has that love for us, that acceptance for us. And then Baba is also correcting. So Baba says, you have to correct, you have to tell the truth. But then you have to tell it with that understanding that they are not wrong. It's just that this is something new and it needs to be communicated. And even if you're talking about, practices that exist in religion, or you're talking about subjects that stir up a lot of controversy, otherwise, you will not create that controversy. Because you're not speaking from that point of, internal, distaste or disgust. You're speaking from a place of acceptance and love and respect. So you understand that whatever everybody is doing is prefixed in the drama, and it is right and it is okay. But now that Baba is telling me that one must do this, I communicate it with humility, with love, with acceptance, with regard for the other. And then it never gets misinterpreted. And then when you do that, you don't use too many words, or you don't have to speak too much, Baba says. It's very short, sweet, and very clear. So this is also something I liked in the Murli. I don't know how much I'm able to communicate it, but this is how I understood it in the Murli today. And then Baba says that if you have faith in your intellect, you will always be victorious. You will always win. But you know, faith is not just a subject of faith in Baba. Baba has told us 4 things: faith in faith in the self, faith in Baba, faith in drama, and faith in the spiritual family. And sometimes, you know, we understand that faith in Baba means, you know, Baba will make everything all right. And that is not faith in Baba. So faith means, when you have faith in Baba, the sign of that faith is you are moving every step on Srimad. And your karma that becomes Sresht karma, because you are doing it on Srimad, gives you a lot of faith in yourself. How many of you have faith in yourself that nothing bad can ever happen to me? Nothing bad, nothing wrong can ever happen to me. That is faith in the self. Because I am Baba's child. I am following Srimad. Then, you know, even if there is a scene where things are not great outside, you have faith that this will pass and I will stay unaffected until the scene changes. You understand it is happening, but it is not happening to me. You don't get traumatized by it because you have faith. And faith in Baba means you are following Srimad, and then that will lead to faith in yourself, faith in the drama. If you have respected time, if you have respected thought, you will always have faith in drama. You know that your thought will come at the right time and time will not betray you, because you have faith in the drama, because you have used your time and thought well. And you know that when you have not wasted your time and thought, when you have not created vikarma through your time and thought, then your time and your thought will always be on your side. So you have faith in drama. So it is all related to karma. And now that we have the knowledge of karma, if we are using our body, mind and wealth according to Srimad, then we have a lot of faith. And this faith makes you victorious, because you will be in many situations. Situations will come and go, but you will never have the feeling of failure or falling. And then in the end, you will feel that you've only grown and your stage has only ascended. And then in your final stage, you are ready to go with Baba and sit in the kingdom in the first place. Okay, Om Shanti.